You know, when you think about it, the royal wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle did create a lot of waves. And as we know, Meghan herself said it was what was it? A spectacle. Was the orchestrated reality yes, it was a spectacle. Cost millions, but apparently a spectacle. And consequently has never really thanked all of those well-wishers, the British public, etc., for all of those heartfelt wishes and, let's not forget, expense of what, that wedding cost. Now, on the counter side, you could say that, of course, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, on that day 7 years ago, brought in a lot of money to the United Kingdom with film crews around the world, hotel stays, tourists. There was goodwill on all sides. But clearly, Meghan didn't necessarily like her own wedding. She's pointed that out. And maybe it was just wedding nerves, the fact that, she fell out with Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and the fact that Her Majesty the Queen wasn't too keen on the white dress. Could have been that, but topping it all off, of course, being caught swearing, allegedly, while in the carriage touring through Windsor, it wasn't exactly the most memorable day that perhaps she had in mind. But what Meghan had on that day was, of course, the beauty of the cameras following her. That's the bit she really liked. But people will remember the preacher. Yes, the preacher who clearly had no thought for elderly people in the congregation, going on way past the allotted 6 minutes time. You have to remember that, whether you're a fan or not, you have to think, well, there were elderly people there that had problems, but clearly that was just brushed aside. But it's this particular individual that makes me sort of smile, because you see, the problem is they're always a victim. Doesn't matter who they are, they always have to turn themselves into a victim. And the bigger problem is this. Well, just take a listen to this. Alice, who performed at the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's wedding, was left out of the BBC's highlight package because he was black, his mother has claimed. Shaku Kenny Mason was chosen to perform at the 2018 ceremony held at St George's Chapel in the glorious town of Windsor. His mother, Keditu, said that she was dismayed to see that he was cut from the BBC highlights coverage and was not featured in newspapers the next day. She pointed out and suggested that, well, the media did not know how to deal with a black cellist, as classical music was normally the preserve of white musicians. Speaking at the Hay Festival in Wales, Mrs. Kenny Mason said that when Shaku played at the royal wedding that night, he was not in any of the BBC highlights. So there was the choir, there was the preacher, but he was left out as though he hadn't been there. The next morning we looked through all the papers, he was not there, so they decided that he was going to be absent. And we thought, well, what's going on here? I think it was simply because, well, the group choir was doing what it was supposed to do, and the preacher was doing what he was supposed to do. But a black cellist cancels itself out. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. See, the other issue is, which he fails to mention, the very much devoted mother of this very talented young boy, I might point out, is that perhaps he alienated a lot of people, because if you remember, this is the same man as well who felt very uncomfortable with the British flag and Rule Britannia being played at, of course, the BBC proms, the proms from the Royal Albert Hall. And he just he couldn't cope with it, no. So consequently, perhaps, and I speak from, as I say, experience of dealing with these type of individuals, it was said that behind the scenes things didn't go as swimmingly or as easy as first thought, as ever, allegedly. But it's interesting to note that, of course, this particular individual, his mother, and of course has a book to promote, so you need to say something controversial. Now, in defence of the BBC, they've said that they gave each and every one their individual moment to shine, literally on screen, and indeed were mentioned. But clearly this particular mother just wanted to make sure that you knew she had a book out, and seemingly the only way she could do it was to bring something up from 7 years ago. So, would you be buying it now? Neil Sean, Parliament, London.